confirm from imagery, pero whatever is in the imagery, I'll take it as it is. Is that?
Yeah, I think that would be a safe assumption to make, which is typically the same assumption we do with the rest of the data set for all other places.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Salamat. Eugene, nasa na si Ian?
Not sure.
And it's now 19:29, 7:29 p.m.
Yes, thank you for the reminder.
We're going live.
We're actually live since 1926. All right, it's 7:30. So since everyone in the channel are not new to WeMap, we'll just start with, let me just stop the screen. Okay. We'll just start with a short reminder for those people who's going to view this from the YouTube channel. Okay, welcome guest. Ray, ikaw ba yan? So, wait, let me just share my screen. Okay, so reminder for everyone, the proceedings is recorded on YouTube. If you don't want your interactions to be recorded, please proceed to the YouTube channel. We'll post the link in the chat box. If you're new to WeMap, I suggest that you go over the README section of the session guide. The session for tonight is going to be led by Eugene and Ian, who will be talking about OpenStreetMap and Wikidata, or how we could improve OpenStreetMap data with Wikidata. Total session for tonight is expected to last for 90 minutes. And then if you have questions, feel free to raise your hands. Use the raise your hand option for Jitsi, or type in your questions in the chat box. Okay, so any questions so far?
None.
Okay. So since there's none, I'll turn over the floor to Eugene. Eugene, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'll be doing a quick introduction to Wikidata for OpenStreetMappers. So this is basically the same presentation, more or less, that I did during the Open Data Day earlier this year. And this is also geared towards people who are already familiar with OpenStreetMap or OSM. So basically an introduction to how Wikidata is useful for OpenStreetMap and how Wikidata is contrasted with OpenStreetMap as a crowdsourced open data project. So I'll be giving the introduction, and then later on, Ian will do a demo of a matcher tool that you can use to add Wikidata tags to OpenStreetMap. So without further ado, let's start. So yes.
Could you do a full screen for your presentation? Or ganyan talaga yung ano mo?
Yeah, ganito talaga.
Okay. Sige. Go ahead. Sorry.
But, well, clear naman yung text so far.
Yung maliit lang na portion sa right side. Okay naman.
Okay, sige. So, okay, so going back, chapter 1 is what is Wikidata? So basically, Wikidata is a CC0 licensed structured knowledge base under the Wikimedia umbrella that contains nearly 85 million items. So basically, if you're familiar with Wikipedia, which is the open knowledge encyclopedia and crowdsourced project, Wikidata is the structured knowledge version of that of Wikipedia. So to give an example, can you see this article on Manila?
Mhm. Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
as you can see, in Wikipedia we have these articles, and usually on the right side of the article we have what we call info boxes. Basically, a big, small or narrow table containing data or statistics or information about the topic in question. So, for example, for the article on Manila, we have this, for example, the country is Philippines, and so on and so forth, its population, its area, and so on. So, the idea of Wikidata is we should be able to capture that into a central database that can be used by other Wikipedia articles. And to show you how it looks like in Wikidata, on the left sidebar, there's a Wikidata item link that if you click on will bring you to the Wikidata item page for Manila. So this is how the Wikidata item page looks for Manila. It basically contains a bunch of what we call labels. So these are labels in different languages. So what Manila is represented in the different languages in the world. And after that, we have the data corresponding to Manila. So for example, Manila was founded on June 24, 1571, and it's the capital of the Philippines, etc., etc. So for example, the current head of government is Mayor Isko Moreno. The current population is 1,780,148, and so on. And okay. So Wikidata was intended to solve two things. First is the mess of interwiki links in the Wikipedias. So as you are aware, Wikipedia is available in nearly 300 languages. So going back to the Wikipedia article on Manila, on the left side, you can have, there are links available to, for example, view the Italian Wikipedia article on Manila. And before Wikidata, what happens is all of those links are copied into each Wikipedia article. So whenever a new Wikipedia article on Manila was created in a different Wikipedia, what happens before was this link to the new language article on Manila has to be copied into all of the existing articles on Manila. And as you can see, that is a recipe for errors and problems and bugs. And so Wikidata was created in order to centralize all of those links so that you don't have to store everything into each Wikipedia article repeatedly. You just store them on Wikidata, and every Wikipedia article just has to link to that Wikidata item and they benefit from that linking, from that central linking. So here, for example, on the Wikidata item for Manila, we currently already have 164 entries in various Wikipedias for the city of Manila. And second problem that Wikidata was intended to solve was the duplication of data in Wikipedia info boxes. So as I mentioned before, there's in the Wikipedia articles, info boxes are on the right side, and usually these have repeated information, like for example, population, country, land area, and stuff. That if these things are updated, they have to be updated in all of the Wikipedia articles manually or by using automated software. But if you're able to store that in a central database such as Wikidata, the Wikipedia articles just has to pull them from Wikidata in order to be automatically updated. So, for example, all interwiki link data is now stored in Wikidata, and these now power the links on the Wikidata articles, Wikipedia articles. And Wikipedia info boxes can now populate themselves from Wikidata. So, for example, in the Catalan Wikipedia, almost all of their info boxes are now populated from Wikidata. In addition, Wikidata has the largest collection of linked IDs to other third-party databases, datasets, and knowledge bases. So if we go back to the Wikidata article on Wikidata item on Manila, at the very bottom is a section for IDs into third-party databases. So, for example, here's the ID for Manila in the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, and in the National Library of Congress of the United States. This is the ID for Manila, and all of these are most of these IDs are linked data. So, for example, if I click on this, I can now be brought to the Library of Congress page on Manila. And one good thing about Wikidata is that its original purpose has grown and is becoming fast becoming a central data hub, especially for GLAM institutions. So GLAMs are an acronym representing galleries, libraries, archives, and museums. So for example, on the Library of Congress page for Manila, there's actually a link back to Wikidata for the Wikidata item on Manila on the Manila page on the Library of Congress. So any questions so far regarding what Wikidata is?
None.
Okay, next I'll talk about the data model of Wikidata. So if you're familiar with OpenStreetMap has what we call nodes, ways, relations, and these things have tags which are composed of the keys, values, and rows in relations, and so on. In the same way, Wikidata has items, statements, properties, values, qualifiers, etc. And I'll explain this a little bit. But first, one common thing about both Wikidata and OpenStreetMap is that data modeling discussions on the project chat page of Wikidata are actually quite similar to the discussions on the tagging mailing list of OpenStreetMap. So basically, there's people always discuss or question how do we tag or model real-life objects into both OpenStreetMap and Wikidata. So going back to Wikidata, so basically Wikidata data is stored as a bunch of triples. So the most basic triples in Wikidata are called statements. And statements are somewhat the equivalent to tags in OpenStreetMap. So what is a triple? Basically, a triple is equal to a subject plus a predicate plus an object. And this triple design was heavily based on the World Wide Web Consortium's Resource Description Framework, or RDF. To give an example, here's an example triple for Earth. So the Wikidata triple we have is Earth, so Earth is our subject, and the predicate is instance of, and the object is inner planet. And each of these things, the three items, the subject Earth, the predicate instance, and the object inner planet, are represented as items in Wikidata. So, for example, Earth has the identifier resource in IRI, or Uniform Resource Identifier, www.wikidata.org/entity/Q2, or
Eugene,
Q2 for short.
sorry.
Yes, Maning?
Check ko lang kung tama ba yung slides. I'm still looking at what's this? The website of Manila, or are you going through the slides?
I'm going to the slides.
Yeah, so anyway, I think it's frozen. Can you just check your screen?
Okay.
Thank you. Yan, kita na. Salamat.
Okay, sorry about that. Again, sige, I'll just backtrack a bit. So basically, a triple is a sequence of three items consisting of the subject, a predicate, and an object. So to give an example, our subject is Earth, the predicate is instance of, and the object is inner planet. So each of these three things in a triple are represented by IRIs, or basically something like URLs. So for example, the Earth item in Wikidata has the IRI www.wikidata.org/entity/Q2. Or in short, we just refer to Earth as the item Q2. So for example, the inner planet has the QID or Q item Q3504248. One good thing about Wikidata is that triples themselves can be subject of secondary triples, allowing us to qualify and add sourcing information. These secondary triples are called qualifiers and references respectively. So for example, we have this triple, Pasig, population 755,300. And this triple itself can become the subject of a different or a secondary triple. So that secondary triple is that this statement has the predicate point in time with the object 2015 August 1. So basically what we're saying is that at the time that Pasig has a population of 755,000, we're stating that this was true as of August 1, 2015. And you can add other secondary triples to this to indicate, for example, what is the source of this information. For example, the source is the Philippine Statistics Authority, and so on and so forth. If you recall, this is quite different from how we model tags in OpenStreetMap. So for example, in OpenStreetMap, the object of Pasig, for example, that it could be a node or a boundary relation, we can have the tag population equals 755,300. Usually what we do to add the secondary statements is we use secondary tags. For example, um, population colon date equals 2015 801, or source colon population equals PSA, something like that. So unlike OpenStreetMap, where the tags are in a flat hierarchy, in Wikidata, triples are in a hierarchical structure. So here's an example of a bit more complex um, nested triples for the Wikidata item for Marie Curie. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but for example, we have the statement: Marie Curie has award received Nobel Prize in Physics. And the secondary statement is that this Nobel Prize was awarded in 1903, and it was awarded together with Pierre Curie and Henri Becquerel, and that the prize money was 35,000 Swedish krona, and so on and so forth. So you can view this in the Wikidata items for Manila. So for example, we have this statement: Manila has a tax revenue of 10 billion Philippine pesos, and it has a qualifier or a secondary statement, point in time 2016. Okay, before we proceed, are there any questions so far? Okay, if there's none, let's proceed. So one tool or application that I would like to introduce to you is what we call the Wikidata Query Service. So the Wikidata Query Service, or WDQS, is the official API for querying data from Wikidata. You can think of it as like the Wikidata equivalent of Overpass API or Overpass Turbo in OpenStreetMap. So basically, Wikidata Query Service uses the World Wide Web Consortium's SparkQL as its query language. If you're familiar with the Overpass API query language, they're actually quite similar. They're both based on the structured query languages of databases, and basically what you can do is to write your query language in a sort of like programming like language code, and if you run that query, you're able to pull data from the query service. So you can access the query service from Wikidata. Just click on the query service on the sidebar, or just go to query.wikidata.org. So you can actually play with this query service. There's a very helpful wizard for querying data. For example, just click on the eye on the left toolbar, and then click on the filter so that you can query for things that you want to look at. So for example, I want to look at city of the Philippines. So basically, it will now automatically write a query for cities in the Philippines. And I can click on show to, for example, I want to click on population. So basically, I want to query for the population of those cities of the Philippines. So if I run the query, I now have this table, and basically I now have the link to the Wikidata item, and then the label for that item, and then the population for each city. So for example, I'll just zoom in. For example, I now know that the population of Antipolo City is 776,000. And one nice thing about the Wikidata query language, so just to give an example, I'll add another column, coordinate location. So if I run the query again, I now have a new column in my results, the coordinate location. And actually, I can visualize this on a map. So if I click on this toolbar on the results table, I can view, I can switch to the map view. So now I have a map of all of of my results. And if I click on individual points, basically I now have my results visualized as a map. So for example, the city of Pasig in Iloilo has the population 80,000 and its coordinates is this. And you can actually play around with this. So for example, I can switch to a bubble chart. So basically, this shows a bubble chart sized by the population. So at a glance, I can see that in my results, the most populous city is Antipolo, at least in these results. And there's other populous cities are Bacoor, Calamba, San Jose, Del Monte, and Dasmariñas. Then we can also switch to a line chart. So, or I guess a more appropriate would be a bar chart. So here we now visualize our populations as a bar chart, and so on and so forth. If you want to play around, there's also a lot of examples. So just click on the examples button on top of the query. So for example, here, I selected the border cities of the world example. And if I run this, I now get a map of cities in the world that are located near an international border. So here's an example. Fort France in Canada is on the border with the United States. Or here's an example. The city of Chega in Mauritania is on the border with, I think this is Niger or Mali. Oh, no, wrong. That's Mali. And so on and so forth. Okay, so that's an example of how we query and visualize data that is already stored in Wikidata. Are there any questions so far?
None.
Okay, let's proceed. So there's actually a lot of applications and tools that have been built on top of Wikidata. I'll just run through some different examples that we have. There's, for example, Monumental, which is a website that allows you to explore built heritage and learn more about monuments. So, for example, you can, here's the example monumental page for the Rizal Monument, which shows you an excerpt from the Wikipedia article on the Rizal Monument, as well as pulling data and pictures, data from Wikidata and pictures from Wikimedia Commons. There's also Krotos, which is a search and display engine for visual artwork based on Wikidata and using Wikimedia Commons files. You can use this to search for paintings or artists or painters. There's also Histropedia, which allows you to generate interactive timelines with events linked to Wikipedia articles. So here's an example timeline of museums in London. and when they were established. And for the bibliophiles out there, there's also Inventire, which is an inventory of your books. So if you're familiar with the website Goodreads, Inventire is basically the Wikidata equivalent of Goodreads, of the Goodreads website. And basically, a list of these tools and applications are listed on Wikidata. Just search for visualized data on Wikidata. Okay, so that's an introduction to what Wikidata is. So the next chapter is what is linked open data, and basically why linking open data sets together is very, very beneficial or important. First, I'll explain how OpenStreetMap and Wikimedia benefit from each other. So first, OpenStreetMap has been used to create maps to illustrate Wikipedia articles and populate Wikimedia Commons. So for example, this is the very first map created from OpenStreetMap that was inserted into Wikipedia. So basically, somebody just took a screenshot of OpenStreetMap back in 2006 of the town of Weybridge in England, and he put that screenshot on the Wikipedia article on the town. Here's another example of a map. So basically, this is a map that was created using data from OpenStreetMap, and this rendered map was then uploaded to Wikimedia Commons. So this is a map of Macau. And the OpenStreetMap powers the Wikimedia Foundation's Cartotarian map tile service, which is used by the cartographer Mediawiki extension. And this extension basically powers all of the interactive maps on the Wikimedia projects that you see. So, for example, let's go back to the Wikipedia article on Manila. Just to give you, just to demonstrate it to you. So yeah, on the sidebar or on the info box of the Wikipedia article on Manila, we have this map of Manila based on OpenStreetMap. I can now click on this to open a more full screen view of the map. And this is basically an interactive map of powered by the Cartotarian tile service. Unfortunately, the tiles are not loading, but yeah, it basically the background tiles are rendered using OpenStreetMap. And actually, this outline here that you can see is actually taken actually from OpenStreetMap itself. In addition to that map tile service that the Wikimedia Foundation has produced, they have also produced internationalized map tiles for Cartotarian. And basically, these leverage the name tags that are stored in OpenStreetMap. So, for example, if you go to Tokyo in OpenStreetMap, usually you'll see the labels in Japanese. But if you look at the map tile service in Wikimedia, you can actually switch the language. Here, I've switched them to use English language labels. And these language labels are taken from the English name tags in OpenStreetMap. There's also the Wikimini Atlas, an older Mediawiki plugin still in use in many Wikipedias. And similarly, this also uses OpenStreetMap data, including 3D building data stored in OpenStreetMap. So here's an example visualization of the 3D buildings in OpenStreetMap as rendered by the plugin for the city of Hong Kong. And on the other way around, OpenStreetMap has also benefited from Mediawiki tools and applications. For example, the OpenStreetMap Wiki is powered by the Mediawiki software, which is the wiki engine developed by Wikimedia. And because of this, this allows us to access Wikimedia Commons images automatically. So for example, the man-made edit tag page on the OpenStreetMap Wiki has this image of an edit which is stored on Wikimedia Commons. So why do we link OpenStreetMap in Wikidata? So Tim Berners-Lee, who is the inventor of the World Wide Web and the initiator of the World Wide Web Consortium's Linked Data Project, suggested that 5-star deployment scheme for linked open data. So basically, these 5 stars are in order. First, the data should be online and open license. So for example, if you stick your data as a PDF online, that is already 1-star data. 2-star data means that the data is machine readable. So as you know, PDFs are not usually machine readable. So you should put them in a file format that is machine readable. For example, Microsoft Excel file format. 3-star open data means that the data is in an open data format. So instead of using proprietary data file formats, you should use open data formats. For example, CSV or GeoJSON or JSON. Next, the 4-star data is that the data should use RDF or resource description format. Basically, that means that your data should have associated IRIs or URLs. And finally, the pinnacle of linked open data is the 5-star level, which means that your data should be linking to other open data sets. And just to give an example, OpenStreetMap is currently 4 stars, almost 5 stars, while Wikidata is 5-star, as evidenced by those identifiers linking to third-party datasets that you can see in Wikidata item pages. So Wikidata items on places can link to OpenStreetMap relations using the OSM relation ID property. So for example, the Manila Wikidata item links to the OSM relation ID 103703. Conversely, OpenStreetMap objects can link to corresponding Wikipedia articles and Wikidata items using the Wikipedia and Wikidata tags respectively. So for example, the boundary relation for Manila has the Wikidata tag Q14161, and it links to the English Wikipedia article on Wikipedia. There are also secondary tags such as brand Wikidata and architect Wikidata. So for example, a building on OpenStreetMap can have the tag architect Wikidata linking to the Wikidata item of the architect that designed that building. And going to ontology, basically how we model stuff in Wikidata and OpenStreetMap, Wikidata items about features can link to quote-unquote equivalent OpenStreetMap features using the OpenStreetMap tag or key, or the P1282 property. So for example, the Wikidata item on lighthouses links to the OSM tag or key man-made equals lighthouse. Correspondingly, tag definitions on the OpenStreetMap wiki can link to equivalent Wikipedia articles and Wikidata items. So for example, the tag man-made equals edit links to the edit article on the first paragraph, and on the sidebar there's a link to the equivalent Wikidata item. And because of this linking together between OpenStreetMap and Wikimedia, Wikimedia maps can show geometry from OpenStreetMap. So I've shown this an example for Manila. So yeah, because Wikidata links to OpenStreetMap, the boundary relation for OpenStreetMap is now available for use on the map tile service of Wikipedia. So here's an example for Pasig on the Wikimedia Commons page for Pasig. The outline here is taken from OpenStreetMap. Mapbox and MapTiler, which are third-party map services that use OpenStreetMap, they actually use Wikidata to help with the localization of their map products. So that means that if there are missing name tags on an OpenStreetMap object, what they do is they pull labels from the corresponding Wikidata entries. For example, the Pasig in OpenStreetMap has just 4 entry name tags in its place city node and admin boundary relation, while the corresponding Wikidata item for Pasig actually has 52 labels. So that means that for their localized map tile layers, Mapbox and MapTiler can show labels for the city of Pasig using any of those 52 labels in Wikidata, and they're not just constrained with the name tags in OpenStreetMap. In addition, user Tichadad finished a Google Summer of Code project to integrate Wikidata tags into Nominatim. So Nominatim is the default search engine in OpenStreetMap, and the idea is by integrating Wikidata tags into Nominatim, it is intended to improve the search results by looking at Wikidata for additional relevance data. So by looking at Wikidata, you're given more relevant search results from Nominatim in OpenStreetMap. In addition, the sub-project Name Suggestions Index, which is used in the OpenStreetMap editors ID and Vespucci, use Wikidata to provide brand identity. So for example, if you tag a fast food object in OpenStreetMap as McDonald's, the icon, the McDonald's logo icon, is there because of the Wikidata link between the brand item for McDonald's and third-party databases, such as, for example, the Twitter account or the Facebook account of McDonald's. Finally, Yurik Astrakhan created Softbox, which is a Sparkle endpoint for OpenStreetMap. So this service can use RDF Federation to also query linked Wikidata items. That means that you can use Softbox together with the Wikidata query service to link OpenStreetMap and Wikidata items together. So for example, you can query for both Wikidata properties as well as tags in OpenStreetMap all at the same time using Softbox. Okay, so that's the end of my introduction to presentation. I'll now turn you over to Ian to demo you the OpenStreetMap Wikidata Matcher.
Eugene, question.
Yes, question. Yeah.
Yeah. So sa Wikidata, there's also this coordinate property, correct?
Yes.
For objects that has location. Is it directly extracted from OSM, or they have a different system of putting in location?
So the coordinates in Wikidata are independently populated by Wikipedians and Wikidatans.
Mm-hmm.
So normally they're imported from the corresponding coordinates stored in the Wikipedia articles. So they're not taken from OpenStreetMap. And actually, that is not allowed because, as I mentioned before, Wikidata is CC0, while OpenStreetMap is Open Database License, and that is an incompatible license. So that means we cannot take coordinates from OpenStreetMap and put them into Wikidata.
Okay, but linking is allowed, so that's clear, no?
Yes, linking is allowed.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask other questions later. Thank you.
Okay. So before Ian proceeds, are there any other questions as well?
None.
Okay. So if there are no more questions, I'll now turn you over to Ian.
Thank you, Eugene. So, am I loud or am I good?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. So let me share my screen and apologies for the. There we go. So, oops, that was not meant to happen. But I'm trying to demo the OSM to Wikidata link. I'll just swap this. There, can you see it now? So I'm trying to demo the OSM and Wikidata Master. So I'll just have to search a place name, like for example, Rizal Laguna. If I to search a smaller place, like for example, Enchanted Kingdom. Oops. There we go. You'll be hit with an error that says matcher only works with place or boundary. So I guess we'll try another place. So Rizal Laguna. So there's the rest of the links are in black, which we can click because they're presumably place nodes. So there's one that is an admin boundary. So let's click this one. And we have a candidate that we can add to Wikidata. There, hmm, there's a hill close to the boundary between San Pablo and Macarlan, which is Mount Malauban. So if we can show the map, it's shown here. So we can choose to add Wikidata tags to OSM, but first we have to check the link between Wikidata and OSM for Mount Malauban. Here it is. So it's a match. The Wikidata page is or code is Q30470755. Well, in OSM it is node number 332020939, and the match details are the OSM tag name Mount Malauban matches Mount Malauban in these Wikidata fields, which is for the Cebuano, English, and presumably Dutch labels in their respective Wikipedias, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a site link to the Cebuano wiki. So let's go back here. So let's try to add the Wikidata tags to OSM. And it says here not to worry because there is a confirmation page. So we have to, as written here, we have to please check each match carefully before uploading to OSM. And if in doubt, contact the local mapping community before adding Wikidata tags. So we can change the default comment from add Wikidata, just add Wikidata tag. That is the default. So what am I going to do here is change the tag to Laguna and put a specific tag like or a comment like add Wikidata tag for Mount Malauban. Do this, then we save this. Hopefully I get this right. But if I don't, again, just do a quick revert on Joseph. So we're currently uploading our edit. Hope it gets through. And we have an error opening our change set. Let me just turn off my screen sharing options. There. Sorry. Let me just double check. So it says here to untick the checkbox to much if you don't want the data tag added to OSM. So apparently, for some reason, I cannot save the edit in to OSM using the Wikidata matcher as of now. So maybe we should try another candidate. I'll just turn on my screen share option again. Let's try another place. Palamba. So let's go here. So let's see which possible places that we can match with Wikidata and OSM. So right now there are many places that we could match with Wikidata. So it's currently loading as we speak. So both chunks have been downloaded, I think. To be honest with you, I could have chosen a smaller place like Las Bañas. Now we have a few candidates that we can use for our matcher. Like for example, let's choose. Um, let's choose the Calamba railway station. Maybe we can do this. Let's check if the Calamba railway station is a match or no match. Let's see. So in coordinates wise, both Wikidata and OSM are matched in terms of location. So here's the station itself. Let's see if we can link it. You have to check the. You have to check if this is already in Wikidata. So far, no, it's not yet part of Wikidata. Not yet in Wikidata. Oh, okay. Okay. So we're going to add this. We're gonna add these pods to OSM, the Wikidata tags. So we'll have to get a confirmation page. Have to go there rather. So if you're not sure if you're going to add this or not, you can just untick the checkbox. Like for example, if you're not sure if Punta National High School, the coordinates for the place doesn't match. If you're not sure, you can just untick. If you're yeah. Otherwise, we're probably good to go. So if I make mistakes here, I or someone from the community can just revert my edits. So So you see the change space which says add Wikidata tags within Calamba. Right. Do not publish one. Hi, sorry for that. So we can just sorry. Give me a moment. Ako narinig mo yung boses sa chat natin, ha? May 5 minutes pa ako ay nasa gitna na ako ng presentation naman. Huwag na mag-iingay-ingay. Hindi nakikita rin.
Seems there's a commotion at the
Okay, looks like you're back. So I had to deal with something. So let's just remove those redundant comments. So just in the change set comment that you're using is add Wikidata tags. So hopefully this works this time. Otherwise, I might attempt it later on. Any questions so far? Or very good?
Yeah, I have a question which I posted in the chat box.
Okay.
So my question is, I found a few cases in OSM where there is a Wikidata for very common objects. So for example, the one I showed there is that there is a Wikidata for paths. I think it's paths or footways. And then it was added in OSM. Is that a good practice or not?
I'm checking in.
It should be specific the POIs. Like for example, I think that is not a good practice at all. It should point to specific named footpaths. So if there's a famous path, like for example the Magdalene Hall of Fame path. Wait a
Yeah, so basically tagging footpaths in OpenStreetMap with the Wikidata item for footpath is not a good practice actually. Same with, for example, tagging individual McDonald's stores in OpenStreetMap with the Wikidata item for McDonald's. But you can use, for example, the secondary tag brand : Wikidata instead.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I can share this now. For example, if this certain path has a name or is quite notable, which meets the notability guidelines used in Wikidata, maybe we can add a Wikidata tag for this particular footway. But for others that have no names, no need to add that. Any more questions?
none.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Just to give another explanation. So the tool demonstrated by Ian is a tool for quickly adding Wikidata tags to OpenStreetMap. So as demonstrated by Ian, you just select a place and then it runs an analysis on the fly, and then it shows you potential matches between objects in OpenStreetMap together with their possible corresponding Wikidata items, and it gives you the choice to select which of these matches are correct. And if you select those and save them, the Wikidata tags are then added to OpenStreetMap. And as I mentioned before, because we are adding Wikidata tags to OpenStreetMap, both projects are benefiting from this link between the two projects. Um, for example, if the Wikidata item has a lot of labels, then Mapbox can then use those labels on Wikidata to show more proper labels for their map service. Maybe Manning can explain this.
Yeah, so for Mapbox, we do have what's this option to change your language. So I think we're supporting around 12 or more languages right now. And for this is for places for the display in Mapbox streets. Unfortunately, not all languages in names in several in those languages are available in OSM. So, for example, in OSM, there's this name colon en for English, name colon ru for Russian, and so on and so forth. But a lot of places in OSM doesn't have that. So instead of using OSM for languages, we supplement it with Wikidata. So, for example, if a place has a Wikidata ID, we get the corresponding name under which language, and then we add that into our map. So, in a way, it can support multilingual maps using both OSM and Wikidata.
Running question.
Yeah.
So does Mapbox help in the Wikidata effort? Any sort of validation or that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we did a huge sprint for fixing a lot of Wikidata, issues in the past. And aside from that, ginawa namin yan when we were when I was in Bangalore. And aside from that, we also support the Wikidata through sponsorship, to support the project through sponsorship. Pero right now, as far as I know, there's no active contribution like from our team to fix or to contribute to Wikidata as of the moment. But we do have tools that we shared that's open source, so that people can also do the same work that we did before.
Okay, thank you.
And in addition to what Eugene mentioned, you can also add subject Wikidata tags for monuments. Like for example, there we go. The monument for Father Michael G. McGivney in San Pablo, which is not at notice, you can add subject Wikidata to the statue or the monument rather, as shown in the screen. So there are a lot of uses for Wikidata tags within OSM, like for brands, subjects, and so on and so forth. Any additional questions? Or are we good at this point?
No more further questions.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Ian and Eugene.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just give another example. Here's a recent project um, developed by OpenStreetMap Belgium under the Open Knowledge Foundation Belgium, as well as Wikimedia Belgium for Open Data Day earlier this year. So what they did was to link together streets in OpenStreetMap for the capital city of Brussels, as well as the people that those streets are named after. So, for example, this is the Equal Street Names project in Brussels. So, for example, here I clicked on the street Rubertmans or Berkmanstraat in Dutch. And this was named after a male person. And they did this to show that the vast majority of streets in Brussels were named after men. And there are only around 6% of the streets that are named after females, meaning that there's really, it shows you how unequal streets are in Brussels in terms of how they were named after historical figures. So this is an example of a project of linking together between OpenStreetMap and Wikidata, showing you things that you may not know because they were not linked before. Yeah, okay, that's it.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, in terms of status of Wikidata and OSM link in the Philippines, are there efforts to do that? Who is doing it, and what are the priorities?
As far as I know, there's no current organized mapping task for adding or linking between OpenStreetMap and Wikidata. Basically, but at least as far as I know, at least all of the cities and towns and provinces are already have their Wikidata tags
Mhm.
present. So what remains are linking the smaller things, such as, for example, monuments, mountains, and things like that. There's no there's no current organized task for that.
Yeah, follow-up question. If you have an idea of a project, ano yung pwede nating i-prioritize? So this can be, we can do this as a project where we can link monuments, as you said, or mountains also. Yung may impact ba? Kasi we can link everything, pero those that that can have impact in improving the coverage of both OSM and Wikidata.
Well, one problem is that Wikidata currently does not have enough coverage of geographical objects in the Philippines. So, for example, if you query the number of schools that are currently in Wikidata, they are probably in the few hundreds so far. So that means that if we try to link schools in OpenStreetMap to Wikidata, you can currently do that until you create the corresponding Wikidata items. So yeah, there's currently a lack of geographical objects that have Wikidata items. So the only thing we can do is just link them as they appear.
Okay, thank you.
Eugene,
Yes.
with that example you mentioned earlier, the project in Belgium, was that the same approach that the GeoChicas did in LATAM?
I think it's a similar approach, but I think they use a different way of querying the link between OpenStreetMap and Wikidata.
I don't think
Which
they
one came first?
Come again, Manning?
I don't think they used Wikidata. What they did is they look into the names and then classify the gender. Whether it's automated or manual, I'm not sure. But I'm not sure whether Wikidata was used.
May ganun bang efforts dito sa Pilipinas?
Wala pa.
May geoladies ba tayo rito ngayon?
If I, so so for example, yung mga streets in Manila, for example, Maria Orosa Street, we can actually while there's not a Wikidata item for the street in Wikidata, we can actually link that to Wikidata by using etymology colon Wikidata equals the item for Maria Orosa, who I know has a Wikidata item. And because the Wikidata item for Maria Orosa has the property sex or gender equals female, we can probably do a similar analysis if we so wanted to.
Yeah, so let's try lahat ng mga bayani. Let's check whether there's a Wikidata for that, there's a gender for that, and then we can probably match anything, all street names that's named after heroes. Pwede, project?
Oh, speaking ng mga subjects, meron din mga monuments tag in honor of Dr. Rizal. Around Calabarzon to be specific. So, pwede natin expand to other regions kung kaya.
So how do you get about doing that project?
Sorry pa, were you talking to me po?
To anyone who'd like to answer.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Ayun, sir. Kasi usually when we do validation, especially sa ibang areas, yung mga mas remote areas like, kunyari, Camsur or Cam Norte, hindi yun yung saktong gusto mong i-validate na bagay. Lumilitaw na may error na parang may upgraded tags, especially dun sa mga may branches. Do you recommend na kapag na-encounter namin yun, ay upgrade na namin? Kasi I think may Wikidata link na like for example for 7-Eleven, Shell, ganyan. Do you recommend na i-upgrade na namin yung mga features na yon sa OSM?
Well, if you, well, I would recommend using the upgrade tag. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's harmful unless
Okay.
the thing that your tag or your mapping in OpenStreetMap is not actually a real 7-Eleven. Kunyari copycat
Okay.
lang ng 7-Eleven. So in that case, wag mo i-upgrade yung tag kasi by upgrading the tag, you're indicating that this 7-Eleven thing in OpenStreetMap is actually a branch of the 7-Eleven brand of convenience stores.
Okay. Gets. May isang tatanong ko. Ayun yung other thing, sir. For example, I'd like to add a new Wikidata entry for ano bang kunyari may bagong milk tea shop ganyan. Is it possible naman po ba para magka ano rin siya sa ID editor na picture yung mga ganon?
As long as that milk tea shop is notable.
Okay, sir. Kumbaga, international brand siya, ganyan. Keme,
Yeah.
ganyan.
Yeah, pag international brand, those are usually notable and kung wala pa siya sa Wikidata, magandang i-add sa Wikidata para matag rin siya sa OpenStreetMap.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So, yung kung ganun yung case, for example, gusto ko ilagay yung Macau Imperial na something, ganyan. Tapos, so I need to make the Wikidata muna siya. Tapos, ililink ko siya sa OSM. Tama?
Yes. And
Okay.
optionally, kung gusto mong maging automatic siya sa Wikidata as a ID editor, pwede mo siyang i-contribute sa name suggestion index. So basically, mag-add ka lang ng entry sa name suggestion index for that Macau Imperial Tea, for example.
Okay. Gets ko na, sir. Medyo hindi ko pa alam yung specific, sir, pero more or less parang at least nagigets ko na yung process. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I think Paul was raising his hand.
Unfortunately, on my end, there's something wrong with the internal server error that has been shown on my end. If possible, may I have to screen share it with you guys?
Are you trying out the matching tool?
I'm trying out with the matching tool, but there's something wrong with some sort of
Error. Okay, can you share
internal
this?
server error.
Okay. So kung maybe that's the same error that Ian encountered earlier. In that case, I can probably contact the developer of the tool and see if there's a problem. If there's a problem right now.
Yes. While
Okay.
I'm trying to add
Okay. So you were able to load the tool and it showed you matches. Tapos when you tried
yes.
to save, nagkaroon ng error.
Yes.
Okay. Baka may problem yung tool right now. So yeah, again, just contact Edward, who developed the matching tool.
Okay. Thank you so very much. And back to you guys.
Are there other questions?
Now,
Nope, I'm still interested on doing some, community project of linking Wikidata and OSM. So I'm open to ideas. Maybe we can do it. Very interesting when, Wikidata kasi medyo malapit sa historical in a way, at least yung entries na meron sa Pilipinas. Maybe there's something that we can think about in doing.
Okay. I think I can look at what we can do. Kasi ano eh, there's a possibility kasi na what we can do is we can also have instead of a mapathon, we can have an editathon
Yeah.
to add new items in Wikidata that we can then link to OpenStreetMap.
Yeah.
Kasi yun yung problema eh. Similar to OpenStreetMap, kakaunti rin yung mga tao na nag-edit sa Wikidata/Wikipedia. So yeah, the reason why I'm introducing Wikidata for this session is because I also want to encourage people, especially OpenStreetMappers, to maybe also help populate or create Wikidata items. Kasi based on my experience, maraming mga things na kulang sa Wikidata. An example of that ay yung mga Spanish era churches. Hindi lahat merong Wikipedia or Wikidata items.
Yeah.
But most of them are usually already mapped in OpenStreetMap.
Yeah. That's let's try it out and maybe we can scale it once we get it working.
Mhm.
Eugene, for people who's new into Wikipedia or Wikidata, one is not required to do the other, right? For example, if you just want to start with the Wikidata portion part, is it possible to just do that first rather than completing a Wikipedia article?
Yes, you don't need to create the Wikipedia article in order to create a Wikidata article. Actually, yung sa Wikipedia, there's very, very strict notability requirements. That means you cannot just create a Wikipedia article for a random person. They have to be very, very notable.
Mhm.
But in Wikidata, the notability requirements are much less strict, and you can actually create Wikidata items for less
Maning
notable
Sambales,
people. Ha?
like
Pwede
Maning
actually.
Sambales.
Pwede actually. Pero of course, there's still a notability. There's still a notability. It's not just as strict as Wikipedia. So actually, I would actually encourage people to contribute to Wikidata kasi much less likely na madedelete siya. And actually, yun yung problem sa Wikipedia. Usually people who contribute to Wikipedia find out that their contributions are deleted. But in
Mhm.
Wikidata, we are much more forgiving kasi similar to OpenStreetMap, hindi siya madaling spam, kumbaga. The reason why we're strict in Wikipedia is there's a potential for spamming or gaming the system to make kasi very high profile yung Wikipedia eh.
Mhm.
But Wikidata, since it's used as a back-end service for things, may ano siya, less visible siya, so much easier to contribute.
So what's the minimum amount of information do you need to start a Wikidata item? Or could you
Basically,
demonstrate that? Could you demo?
um, I'll demo or what? Huh?
Of creating your first Wikidata item?
Okay. Sige, I'll give an example. Sige, I'll share my screen. So right now I'm loading the Wikidata homepage, and on the left sidebar, there's a link, create a new item.
Pwede natin gamitin yung example ni, ni Nico.
Well, I'll give a more relevant example. I
Alright.
think for example, I think yung barangay ko wala pa sa So yung barangay ko wala pa sa Wikidata. Like gawin ko lang ito, label Talondos, then description, barangay of the Philippines in the city of Las Piñas, Metro Manila. Then create. Then yan, dapat meron akong bagong object or Wikidata item for Talondos. And then now we can add statements to this new item. So here I click on add statement, then instance of barangay, publish. So that means na basically I'm saying that this Wikidata item is a barangay. Then I can add another statement, country, then Philippines. So that means this is a barangay in the Philippines. then located in the administrative territorial entity Las Piñas. And then, for example, coordinate location, population, yung Philippine Standard Geographic Code, local dialing code. I think this is just 2. Yeah, so on and so forth.
Madali lang.
And then
Yeah.
now I can just copy this queue item, a queue number. Then, for example, so OpenStreetMap, Londos. Yeah.
Naka-default
Then-
Pasig yung ano mo ha. Browse OSM.
Yeah, then I can just now edit this and add the Wikidata item. So for example, actually, meron actually built-in preset yung ID for Wikidata. I'll just demonstrate that to you. And you can and ang maganda sa preset na to, it actually uses the Wikidata search engine for it actually uses the Wikidata search engine for finding the corresponding Wikidata item. So just to give a demonstration.
Synchronization, Eugene. Is
Again?
it readily available once you create the item?
It should be. Sige. Administrative boundary. Sige. Just click on add field. Then sa baba merong Wikidata. Then just
Mm,
and
it's
makikita
live.
nyo na it's live. And makikita nyo na yeah. The reason why mabilis siya is because yung Wikidata preset ng ID actually calls the search engine of Wikidata itself. Kaya as long as you have created the Wikidata item, it's immediately available in ID. Sige, let's give another example. I think yung and then na-match ko na to before pero yung
Halimbawa, Eugene, you're interested in all highways named after Jose Rizal. Is that notable enough in the Philippines? Is it worth an item in Wikidata?
yung street itself probably not, but the person that was named after Jose Rizal certainly notable enough.
So how would you tag that? Are you tagging the street for
Sige.
that particular item? Ano yun?
Sige, let's give an example. Etong main street sa village namin, si Gloria Diaz, pwede ko siyang itag na etymology. Name etymology, Wikidata. Unfortunately, sige, search ko muna si Gloria Diaz.
Aba, meron.
Yan. Then, i-copy ko lang yung Q
May
item.
gender ba? Check nyo nga kung may gender.
May gender dapat yan. Sex or gender, female.
Okay.
Yan. So, meron akong name etymology Wikidata tag pointing to the Gloria Diaz item in Wikidata. Then, that.
Interesting.
Sir, question.
Yes.
Yung sex or gender, ano yun? Male and female lang talaga siya na option?
Actually, pwede siyang lahat yung the whole spectrum. I think
Okay. Wow.
including intersex.
Nice.
And note that this is yung sex or gender, meaning yung gender identity.
Yes, sir.
Yung
Okay.
sexual orientation, that's a different
Yes, sir.
property. So for example, I can do
Meron din.
sexual orientation. Pwede ko sabihin, heterosexual.
Ah, nice. Nice.
Ang pero note lang, kasi since bring up mo yan, sa Wikidata, meron kaming policy na, especially for living people, we don't actually put the sexual orientation unless it is already well established in reliable sources. Meaning, that person itself, sinabi niya na, I'm gay. So,
Mm.
so pwede mo sabihin, homosexuality, ganyan. Just a very example. Pero you need to add a reference. So, kunyari, sabi mo, reference URL linking to the URL of the news article, kunyari. That's
Okay.
at least for sexual orientation, we require na dapat may sources or references.
Yes.
But for yung sex or gender na property,
Male, female, intersex.
yan, hindi usually kailangan ng reference.
Okay, sir. Noted. Ang saya naman ng Wikidata.
Okay. Meron pa bang mga questions regarding sa Wikidata? Isa pang maganda sa Wikidata, first-class citizens yung mga Wikidata tags. So for example, sa Talondos, yan, automatically linkable na agad yung tag doon sa OpenStreetMap website, linkable na siya doon sa Wikidata tag. Yung kay Gloria Diaz, I'm not sure kung, let's see, kung siya. Kung linkable siya. Uy, linkable siya. So that means...
Sorry.
So that
go
means...
ahead finish your statement.
Yeah.
Dun sa question earlier ni Nico about upgrading tags, is it automatic from ID when the same feature name is available in Wikidata? Would they offer to upgrade the tags?
Hindi siya automatic. Kailangan mo na siyang i-add sa name suggestion index. So that means na, for example, when you're mapping in OpenStreetMap, tapos tinag mo siya as name Max's Restaurant, tapos amenity restaurant, kunyari, kung walang entry for Max's doon sa name suggestion index, hindi siya magsasuggest ng upgrade tags.
Okay. So yun yung correction doon, the NSI.
Yeah.
Sa mga gumagamit ng JOSOM, actually there's a plugin, preset for name suggestion index that you can automatically use whatever is available from the standard index.
Yeah. Meron din actually Wikidata plugin sa JOSOM. So similar to ID, you can add Wikidata tags by doing a Wikidata search.
Yeah. May suggested na siya na rin ng Wikidata. So, minsan, you have to choose between 3 Wikidata. So, you still have to verify, but at least, madali nang hanapin kung alin yung suggested.
Wikidata. Is it a plugin or a preset?
Plugin.
Plugin. Interesting.
May iba pa bang questions?
Yeah, not Wikidata.
Okay. So, well, marami tayong mga projects na sa local. For example, yung OSM Maparalan and stuff like that. But yeah, for people who are interested in doing things with Wikidata, maybe I can create a project or task for us to add Wikidata tags to things in OpenStreetMap kung gusto nyo.
Yeah, at least monuments, ganyan, or local heroes, I don't know.
I think as usual for any of the ongoing efforts, it's a question of finding the people who's keen on doing that kind of thing or may connect mo with existing efforts.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Okay. So are there any more questions for Eugene? Is Ian still here? I think he left. He already left.
No further questions.
Did we miss anything from the chat box? Has all questions been answered?
Wala, I don't know kung meron sa YouTube. I haven't checked.
Oh, I forgot about YouTube. YouTube is quiet. Okay. So if there are no more questions so far for Eugene about Wikidata or Wikipedia, Eugene is, pwede ba? Pwede ka bang kontakin na saan, Eugene? Do you have a deck?
Well, you can contact me through OpenStreetMap. Yung
Okay.
username ko is SEAV, Steve. So just send me a message if you want, or kung Facebook friends tayo, of course, you can contact me there or sa Telegram.
Yan. So kung meron kayong tanong na hindi pa na fully formed right now, you can contact Eugene via OpenStreetMap or Telegram or through Facebook. So OpenStreetMap Philippines has several channels. The one in Telegram is very active, but we're also in Facebook. Feel free to ask questions there if you cannot do it tonight. Tapos, let me just share my screen. If you have, hindi ba pala tayo nag-group picture? You guys want to share your cameras? Let's take a group photo.
Now it's screen cap time.
Wow! May B-sign pa. So there's, may mumu sa baba. Okay, one more time. On 3, ha?
Hi, Louie.
Smile. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thanks. If there's may okay, if you have any comments or inputs about tonight's session, please feel free to visit the survey URL for tonight. So I'll just post this in the chat box. That will be available until Friday. And then if you're looking for ongoing or for more information about the OpenStreetMap communities in the Philippines, just visit the OSM Wiki pages, osm.org/wiki/ph, or other efforts under the Philippine category. And before we end, I just want to remind you that there's an ongoing micro grant by the OpenStreetMap Foundation. So if you have ideas for projects, software ideas, tools that you want to build, challenges you want to solve, there's funding available up to 5,000 euros. The deadline is on the 10th of May. So please go to the URL for the microgrant program. Naka-post na sa chat box.
Well, on that note, si Miko has currently two grant requests and nangangailangan siya ng inyong endorsement.
A grant request from,
Nico,
di ba naka-draft pa yun?
submitted na yata.
Nakapropose.
Nga.
Kaso may kausap na po ako sa foundation na may bug po kasi ata yung wiki page kaya may mga hindi lumilitaw na information. Lalo na dun sa parang sa right side.
Ayun. O baka gusto mong i-post yung URL ng application page mo sa chat box. Yes, pay 5,000 euro. may ano pa si Faye. Exclamation mark. So, pa-post ka lang, Miko, para everyone can have a view of that. So don't forget, if you have ideas that needs money to get it going, feel free to explore what the microgrant program can possibly help you with. So that's it for tonight. If there are no more questions, wala na. Gulat na gulat lang si Faye about 5,000 euros. We hope to see you again next week. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you, Ian.
Good night, everyone. Much.
Okay. We'll just announce the next topic by Sunday. Good night.
Good night.
Bye, bye.
Bye. Good night.
Night, night.
Night.
Take care.